Hi friends, I'm Scott Giles and welcome to Power Talk, my podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I cover topics related to spirituality, hypno-coaching, and the hypnotic arts and sciences generally. If you'd like to know more about my professional work, check out my website, which I'll tag at the end of this video. Today I want to talk about character. How can we become a better version of ourselves deep inside? And for those of us in helping professions, how can we assist others in doing the same? Now, this whole topic is fraught with problems. The very first thing to get is that character is about the relationship we have toward ourselves. It's not our personality. Personality is our style, traits, likes, dislikes, and other preferences. Character speaks to your inner self. It's much less obvious than personality. Now, you can buy books, starting with the famous 1936 book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that will tell you how to get other people to like you or do what you say. But that's not your character. What such books and courses teach one is how to wear a mask. Maybe an effective and profitable mask, but a mask nonetheless. How to behave publicly so that others are impressed and think well of us may be important information to have. But what those other people see is the act we're putting on, which may or may not be a good reflection of who we actually are. Think as an example of this about the politician who attends a rally or a meeting with smiles and backslapping, then gets into the car. The politician turns to an aide and says, I really hate these people. The act the politician put on isn't a display of the politician's character. What was said in the car is, in this case, a lack of wisdom, as the politician finds it acceptable to lie. And that's the sort of character the politician has. In order to question oneself about one's character, one has to think about oneself objectively, and that's difficult. No one can be completely objective about themselves. We're all supposed to be on our own side, and everyone wants to think well of themselves. But we've all got that subconscious part that remembers being disciplined and shaped as we grew up. There were giants in the world when we were very young, the adults who were around, and we are biologically programmed to perceive them as having authority. As they tried to teach us how to behave to survive, they told us no a lot, and disciplined and scolded and all of that. The result is that everyone has part of their personality that remembers messing up and being corrected. In transactional analysis, a system of psychotherapy, that part is called the not okay adapted child. Simply, the part of ourselves that thinks badly about ourselves, and we've all got one. Trouble happens is when we give that part too much attention. If we do, it will keep reminding us that we were wrong, bad, mistaken. Self-blame becomes a theme. And research, check out Tara Box's book, Radical Acceptance. Research shows that self-blame shuts down the learning centers in the brain. If we get into the habit of habitual self-blame, we end up becoming less than we might otherwise become because we failed to learn from our experience as well as we might, because of what we've done to our brain by maintaining the brain chemistry associated with self-blame. Therefore, the first step to improve our character is to stop pointless self-blame and stop beating ourselves up for past mistakes. As I've said many times, the human nervous system learns by making attempts, discovering what works, and learning from what does not. Mistakes are inevitable, and if you never make one, you never really learn anything. As Socrates put it, no one does wrong on purpose. No one gets up and says, wow, I was spectacularly wrong yesterday and I'm going to try to be even more wrong today. All of us mess up some of the time, meaning the best. That's part of being human, and you're not at fault because of it. Another difficulty is that we really can't get clues about our own character from the way others treat us. They could be faking because they want to look for an advantage and use us somehow. I've had people treat me respectfully because they were looking to benefit from my money, reputation, or influence. Additionally, we may not be aware of how we ourselves behave when in groups of people. We may subconsciously make ourselves less than we are in order to fit in. All of us instinctively try to fit in with the groups of people we interact with. And often, this can mean holding back, not expressing ourselves honestly in an effort to be unobjectionable. This is why the famous writer Ralph Waldo Emerson, who, by the way, was a minister of my own denomination, once wrote that people descend to meet, meaning that the desire to fit in can actually cause us to distort our character and make us a lesser version of ourselves. So we can't trust the report of others about our character, nor can we judge it by our own public behavior. These things may tell us about our personality, how others think of us, but not about our character. Ministers like myself learn this very quickly in our professional lives as we function as leaders in our religious communities. We quickly realize that no matter what we do, we're going to make some people unhappy. Perhaps because there's an honest difference of opinion, perhaps because some people act with malice because they have personality problems, and because in any group of people, misunderstandings are going to happen. As one wag put it, good leadership is where you earn a bad reputation by doing good deeds. We can't judge ourselves for good or ill by how we're treated by others. And while it's great to have friends and community, and if you have no friends and no community, there is probably something amiss. But short of that, we need to not worry over much about how people think about us or take too seriously what they appear to think of us. They only see the mask, which they may describe as your personality. There's a saying often quoted by productivity guru David Allen: you can never get enough of what you don't really need. You don't need the approval of others, and if you think you do, you'll never be able to get enough of it because no one can make you feel acceptable but you. So, how do we figure out what our character is and how to improve it? There are many ways, but as a long-time journal keeper, I want to pass on what helps me. Write down a self-description. Be honest, as objective as possible. Neither praise nor blame yourself. If you do it well, this description is not going to be all good things and roses, because we've all got a downside. And if we have achieved self-honesty as a philosophical person, we will see our foibles and failings on the page that we've just written. Then ask yourself how you typically behave at baseline. Not how you behave because you read a book or talked to a coach or got some training that taught you to behave a certain way. How do you honestly want to behave in various situations? What do you want to characteristically do? Word choice intentional, differentiated from what you do because of special schooling or training you may have received. That answer, what you honestly want to do, regardless of what you did do, tells you about your character. For example, you may actually behave like a brave person because you were trained to do that, but perhaps you can honestly admit that when the chips are down, you characteristically want to run like a bunny. That tells you that being cautious is part of your character. No one else might know that about you because they don't see that, but you can know it about yourself. And the goal is not to critique it. The goal here is to improve your character. We're not doing self-blame here. You improve your character by honestly accepting it and then creating a sense of humor about it. To extend this example, if being overly cautious is part of your character, you can cushion any negative impact by self-awareness. Hey, don't listen to me, I tend to be overly cautious. Or you can find a way to softly joke about it. I sometimes wonder if I should wear a suit of armor to protect me from all the bad things I worry about. You can do this even if you behave bravely because of training, willpower, and so on. I often say that life is too serious to take seriously, and by that I mean you know you're on the right track with a difficult idea or theme when you can develop a sense of humor about it. Then you learn to chuckle at yourself. Other people will quickly realize that you have a realistic sense of self, are not defensive, that makes you approachable and likable. They will see you as a person of good character. In addition to your traits, personality, and so on, they will see that you're of good character because you really know who you are, warts and all, and are not putting on an act. The great ancient philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "In short, the straightforward and good person should be like a smelly goat. You know when they're in the room with you." You know they're in the room with you because they know their own limitations and preferences, can laugh at themselves while still trying their best. They have improved their character, and you can improve your character by being such a person too. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject, and I'd like to invite you to join me. It does help me if you let others know about my videos, so please like, share, and subscribe. If I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through email, my website, or my Patreon channel. Stay well and stay safe.